Once upon a time, in a kingdom of roses and rivers, there lived a miller named Richard Woodville. But this was no ordinary miller. He had married far above his station to Jacquetta of Luxembourg, whose family was famed for its line of women whispered to have the gift of prophecy and the sight. On the day their first child was born, Jacquetta gazed upon her with eyes that saw beyond the present. "This daughter," she said, "will turn straw into gold." Elizabeth grew into the most beautiful maiden in England, golden-haired, keen-eyed, and clever with her words. Though her father's pride was boundless, the court called her a commoner. Still, he would boast to anyone who listened, "My daughter can turn straw into gold." One day, fate carried a young king along the road where Elizabeth stood beneath an oak tree, petitioning for her lands as a young widow. Edward IV, newly crowned and golden as the morning sun, saw her and was smitten. He rode to her home, where her father, seeing the king's gaze, said proudly, "Of course he looks upon her so. My daughter can turn straw into gold." But in the shadows stood Richard Neville, Earl of Warwick, the kingmaker, who thought himself master of kings. He would never allow such a match. So Edward, clever as he was bold, whispered to Elizabeth, "We will not tell them I intend to wed you. We will wed in secret. Once we are bound, no man can undo it." This was her first bargain, a widow's hand for a king, and from it she spun her first gold. She became Queen of England. The king's younger brother Richard watched as the new queen endured slander from Warwick and others, who scorned this marriage for love. He told her this love had brought instability to the realm, but he could help. He would advise her, strengthen her family, arrange powerful marriages for her sisters and brothers, bringing titles and gold. Richard smiled, the kind of smile that never reached his eyes. "And in return, only your firstborn son," he said smoothly. "Not now. I would not tear a babe from his mother's arms. But when he is of an age to learn the ways of kings, then he will be mine to guide." She gasped. "All of England needs an heir. A son will keep you on your throne," he promised. "Done," she declared. In time, she bore a son, Prince Edward. This was her second bargain, her body and blood for the safety of her husband's throne. From the shadows, Richard guided her as she secured her family's marriages, lands, and offices, building a wall of alliances. The Rivers family rose high in the king's favor. But gold draws envy, and Warwick plotted vengeance with treacherous allies. Again, Richard came to her. "I shall be your spy. I will help you unravel his webs." The queen hesitated, sensing there was more to this offer, but her eldest son was innocent and princely. He must inherit a kingdom. "What do you ask in return?" Richard leaned close, as though sharing a secret meant only for her. "Warwick is dangerous, and the king's own brother George plots at his side. I will remove them both, but bargains are debts, and you still owe me. Give me another son. While they are young, they will be yours to raise and cherish, but when they are ready to be shaped into rulers, they will come to me." His words wrapped like silk, yet pulled like rope. "Very well," she said. This was her third bargain, and Richard now had claim to not one, but 2 princes. Warwick was defeated, George met the traitor's death, and for a time, the king and queen's family grew, blessed with many children and days of peace. But peace lasted only as long as Edward lived. When he died, Elizabeth's eldest, still only a boy, was to be crowned King Edward V. On his journey to London for his coronation, Richard came to collect. He held the boy in the tower and wrote to the Dowager Queen, "Your eldest boy is my ward by right of our bargain," he reminded her. "Your second son as well, you promised them both." Elizabeth fought to keep her youngest, but her own agreements bound her. She sent the boy into his uncle's hands, telling the world they were safe, though in her heart she feared the truth. It was not long before Richard claimed the crown for himself, declaring the princes illegitimate. Soon, the boys vanished into the tower, never to be seen again. Broken-hearted and in sanctuary, Elizabeth gathered her daughters close. To her eldest, Elizabeth of York, she whispered every detail. The bargains, the debts, and something else. Names are power, child. If his true one were known, every hold he has over us would shatter. The young Elizabeth of York did not weep. She asked to join Richard's court. Her mother agreed. It was dangerous, but it was the only way to end the bargain. At court, the princess moved with grace and quiet cunning, listening from behind tapestries, attending feasts, feigning loyalty. One night, passing an open window of the great hall, she heard a low, smug chant. Her heart quickened. At last, she had what she sought. She wrote a letter at once and sent it to the man who defied Richard. The clash of steel rang across Bosworth Field. Richard charged, and Henry Tudor, drawing breath above the roar, called the name aloud before all the assembled hosts. Rumpelstiltskin. Richard faltered, the magic of his bargains broken, and he was struck down. His crown was lifted and placed upon Henry's head, the first Tudor king. The young Elizabeth of York wed Henry, uniting the houses of Lancaster and York. The Dowager Queen, Elizabeth Woodville, saw her daughter crowned and her enemy undone. On the day she was born, her mother had foretold she would turn straw into gold, and so she had. From the humblest straw of a commoner's birth, she spun a thread that wove crowns for her children, her grandchildren, and the generations beyond. Gold that gleamed across England, Scotland, and France. And so the tale was told for centuries of the queen who turned straw into gold, the bargains she struck, and the daughter who broke them. The end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That means everything to a new channel like this one. Thank you for watching.